Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the breakdown. I'm Tone. Thank you for being here once again. I'm going to keep this video nice and short. I just wanted to give an update about the topics that I spoke of the other day or the other night. Firstly, I want to cover the truckie strike or the truck driver strike. Now, listening to the radio today, it's quite interesting because now it's made the mass media. Previous to this, it was unverified. It was just talk, social media and all that sort of thing. Although you'll probably find that a lot of things that are actually factual make their way into the social media platforms first, and then if it becomes a big enough issue, the mass media have no choice but to talk about it. Now, what's interesting though is there's two levels to this. Some truck drivers are actually taking industrial action about pay, working conditions, that sort of thing. And obviously, like I covered in my previous video, truckies have been having a pretty hard time. They are like the blood flowing through the arteries of this country, making sure that we get what we need where we need it in a timely way. And yet permits and just the working conditions have obviously become an issue. And so there's some truck drivers that are striking. It'll be today. They had it scheduled for Friday. Now, that's one side of this coin. The other side of it is, and this is what the mass media they've been dubbing these truck drivers rogue truck drivers. These truckies are the ones that I was referring to in my previous video, where they are preparing to possibly blockade main roads and stop moving moving their trucks and thus moving their payloads in a direct response to the government's handling of the lockdowns and all of that sort of thing, specifically about permits and actually linked somewhat to the rollout of the vaccine as well. However, of course, industrial action and striking, going on strike, the media covers that angle of it, but dubs that complete other idea, the other angle to this. They dub it as just rogue truckies, truckies going rogue. Now, I would have said that going rogue is going on strike for whatever reason. So it's interesting, but not surprising, that the two things coincide around the same time, but they'll throw it together and make it look like it's just the one issue. Or they'll acknowledge to a tiny little point that there's some doing it for some other reason, and they don't go into that, and then they lump everybody in together and suggest that it's all part of the one thing, with this kind of slight sidearm of, and some other truckies are just doing it because of this, and they don't go into detail there. Very convenient to just avoid what is pretty obvious. Because obviously they don't want to feed into the idea that these other truck drivers are doing it for. They don't want to take it to that level. They just want to put it all into one box, pack it up nice, and tie it with a bow and go, that covers it. Good, we'll move on to the next topic. Very convenient of them. And I want to just backtrack a little bit for an issue that happened and does continue to happen, and that is these protests. Now, I've already covered my ideas of whether it's worth it or not, so we'll leave it at that. You can watch my previous videos if you want to hear what I think about that. But we had a caller call up on the radio today, early this morning, so it's quite a while ago now. But he was talking about the protests and saying you can't lump everybody in together because, of course, as I spoke about and as you're probably already aware, there was a select few at the front of this group at every protest that are clashing with the police. But the majority, by far the majority of people there, just want to have a mass of people to try and get a little bit more attention to what they're trying to get, the point they're trying to get across. But when the caller called up and said, look, you cannot put everybody into the same box and tar them with the same brush, they said, well, they were all there illegally against the health orders, not the law orders handed and put into place by legislation and handed down by the Premier. These are health orders from the health officer. So we've already covered that in other videos. I've already mentioned about how that operates and how it's not, well, I can't see how that's lawful. Sorry, but I can't see how that's lawful. But anyway, it's illegal for all of these people to be congregating there. And so they're all breaking the law. And so therefore, they're all as guilty as those that are being violent to the police. And I wrote down here just a quick note saying, being somewhere that others are who are guilty of violence simply makes you guilty of that violence by association. Now, that's my words, and that's ridiculous. No, I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. And I covered in my previous video, go and protest about something after the fact. Why would anyone do that? So, of course, they're protesting the issues that are right now. Look, I still don't think protests are worth anyone's time in trying to just go in a massive group of people. If you want to get their point, you get your point across, you need to hit the government and the whole economy where it hurts. Stop spending unnecessary money or currency right now. Slow down the currency velocity. You'll get attention. Slow down the supply chain of how stuff can move from one place to another, like these rogue truck drivers are proposing to do, and you'll get attention. Standing around screaming and shouting or, chanting something and waving flags and banners in the middle of a street, not going to get any result, really. I mean, those days are over. And clearly the media hijacks that idea and slams everybody for it and says you're all being violent to the police, even though, maybe 100 out of 5,000 were doing so. Now, I don't know the numbers, but that's, as a percentage, no one who wasn't doing the violent act is as guilty as the one doing the violent act. I mean, you can't put them all together, but of course they did. Now, I can't remember if it was the same, I think it was the same caller. It was most certainly the same presenter. Again, no names. And I won't even name the radio network, although you probably know if you go back and look at my previous videos. But this particular caller, whether it was the same caller or not, I think it might have been, said that the reason for people going and protesting is because they're losing their jobs, or the prospect of them losing their jobs is a very real issue. whether it be because these lockdowns extend or because progressively anyone who does not get the vaccine will not be employable by the law. Now, starting off before it gets to law stage, it will simply just be trial by society or trial by company. As we already know with SPC and Qantas, I think, have already decided that they're going to go down that path. No surprise. There'll be more of those. But if you want to go and apply for a job, and when you make that application for that job, you cannot prove that you are vaccinated, well, pretty much kiss your chances of getting the job goodbye. Okay. So, and that was the point that the caller was trying to make. And I mean, anyone with a brain understands that. Anyway, so then he said, look, by them doing that, or by that process being put into place, just naturally progressing to be like this, you are forcing people to get the vaccine. Presenter says, well, no, don't tell lies. No one is mandating the vaccine and no one is telling you to go and get it. Of course, the caller says, well, if I don't go, or if others don't go and get the vaccine, then apparently we will be unemployable. We won't be able to hold a job or indeed apply for one and get one. And the presenter says, well, get vaccinated then. So no one's being forced to get the vaccine, but we're being told if we don't get the vaccine, we can't have a job. So no one's holding us down. Another thing, the presenter said no one's holding anyone down and putting the needle in your arm. It's your choice. You want to go get it or not? Up to you. However, of course, if you don't go and get it, you can't have a job. I call that coercion. I don't call that an option or a choice at all, because by saying no to the vaccine, you say no to having a job and an income. Yeah, I think anybody who hears this kind of talk, and it's increasing, anyone who hears this should, by now, be understanding what it really is and what it really looks like. You can't say that anyone's got a choice if you say, if you choose this, you can't have this, and then say that it's not being forced on anybody. I mean, I'm sure you get it. Well, I'm hoping you get it. Don't tell lies. No one's holding you down and sticking a needle in your arm. No, they're just telling you that if you don't get it, no work for you. No income for you. That's what they're saying. So, you want to have a job? Well, go and get vaccinated then. It's interesting times. I'm not surprised by it. I'm not surprised by it at all. I've been covering this stuff for over a year now. And I just encourage any of you out there that are just still trying to figure it all out, always take a step back, pause, take a deep breath, and look at things from the macro perspective as much as you can. Not just how all these little things are going to affect your life directly. Look at the world and how it's changing, how it's not going to go back to like what it was before. Just please look at things logically. Don't get caught up with all the science talk and everything like that. I mean, all of those things have value, but we're not getting the information, and we're being told that this is how it is now. Do this, we can't have that. Now, I understand that we've got strategies and processes in place, like you can't drive your car without a license. You can't do a lot of things without having done something else first. But I've never imagined in my life that a vaccine would be such a huge turning point in our world that would separate people so drastically. But it is what it is, and I just encourage you not to succumb to the fear. What is being used is a fear tactic, and when people are fearful, they make quite drastic decisions and never the rational one. So whatever you do, please stay as rational as you can. Reason everything through. Don't allow the fear that is being put out, where we're just hearing about numbers of cases. We're hearing not a whole lot about number of people dying. We're hearing all about cases. And we're hearing nothing, hardly at all, about all of the recoveries, all of those that have got sick and have recovered. We're just hearing about new cases, the number of new cases and the number of active cases and all this sort of thing. Those numbers are going to be big. They're going to be much, much bigger than the number of people that are actually dying from it. Because as we know, it's quite drastically recoverable. Like, people recover. The vast majority. A small percentage of people are terminal as a result of this. Again, the data is not very reliable, and we're not given good access to it because the mantra and the whole agenda is so much more than... It's much more important to them to just keep pushing the agenda than to give the reliable information. If we had the reliable information being given to us properly, and the information that they're using for the rationale of all these lockdowns, well, people would be a little more awake, I think. So to keep people fearful, they're just told, look, we can't give you the information. We can't give you access to that. We need to just make the decisions for you because we're protecting you. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I did say I was going to try and keep this video shorter, but oh well, I'm never really any good at that, especially when I have bits and pieces to throw in here and there. The story turns into 20 minutes. Sorry about that. But most certainly for today, the clown effect goes to the radio presenter who said, "No one is holding you down and putting a needle in your arm. Don't tell lies." And in response to the caller saying, well, if I don't go and get vaccinated, then I won't be employable and I won't be able to get a job, to which, of course, the presenter says, well, go get vaccinated then. Well, they most certainly take out the clown effect for this evening. Thank you for joining me on the breakdown. It is always fantastic to have you watching my videos. I'm really looking forward to a little more interaction in the comments, so please leave a comment, leave a like if you indeed liked it. If you don't agree with me, you can leave a comment to say so. reason out why you don't agree with me, I'll most certainly take it on board and come back to you with an answer or a response. But please feel free to leave comments in there. I'd love the two-way interaction, would be great. And share this video far and wide, whoever you want to show it to. I'm unafraid. And I'm unashamed of holding a view that may not necessarily be scientifically educated, but give me the information, tell me how it really is, and then I'll be able to reason it out. But if you're just going to tell me to bend over and take it, not going to happen. Okay? Until next time, I'll see you in the next videos. Thank you for joining me, and take care and God bless. Bye for now.